Hello there. Well, it's barely light and it's barely above freezing temperature, which is kind of make me wonder what on earth it is I'm doing here. I'm in Port Glasgow, and I think before I properly explain what's going on, I've got to, I'm right beside Barrs Brae, which is a very steep brae. If you've ever seen Port Glasgow from perhaps the other side of the River Clyde, you know, kind of the town rises quite steeply up a hill towards some moors. Barrs Brae, I think the road kind of twists and turns, but I think there's a set of stairs that is more direct and which is going to be even more steep. So let's get this steepness out of the way, and then I'll explain what on earth it is I'm doing here. Okay. As the Druins might say, pech pant, pech pant. Whole place is full of stairs. What a steep place Port Glasgow is. Well, the houses just go up and up and up, clinging onto the side of slopes. And it's funny, when coming along in a train there, I noticed, not for the first time, just between Woodhall and Port Glasgow, whole streets of tenements and housing estates that look unoccupied. The windows are all boarded up. And some of the houses look as if they're in good nick, you know, and you do wonder why they're not occupied. I remember many years ago visiting Middlesbrough, way down the south, and again there was a housing scheme or estate where all the windows were boarded up and the houses looked pretty modern. And I happened to ask someone, and they said, well, some kind of bad folk moved in, and gradually everybody in the estate, just a bit at a time, kind of moved out, and in the end nobody wanted to live there, and they had no option but to pull the whole thing down and, I dare say, rebuild another house in the estate. It's quite bizarre. I don't know whether that's the case between Woodhall and Port Glasgow, or whether some of the housing is perhaps not fit for habitation. Some of the tenements look as if they're maybe thrown up to house guys who worked in the many industries, shipbuilding and what have you, long ago. I don't know. Anyway, today it's just another walk, another moorland walk between Port Glasgow and Greenock. It's about 7 miles, going up onto any number of different moors. It's perhaps a little bit different from the Renton walk, the last video that I did, in that much of the walk is going to be on the wide track that you can see behind me. I think that's probably a maintenance road for the wind farm, Inverclyde Wind Farm. And we will leave that track at one point and just for a very short distance go up onto a hill. It's about 303 metres high, Corlick Hill, almost the exact same height as the high point in the last video, just above Renton in Alexandria. I think it is the same height, in fact, if not a metre out. And then we'll drop down and we'll pick up another very wide track. So most of this is going to be pretty easy going. I was hoping that we would either get good views on top of Corlick Hill or coming down hill towards Greenock. But as you can see, it's misty. We might get some atmospheric shots of these huge wind turbines, which scared me a little bit, if I'm honest. But hopefully this will clear and we might get some good views. But fingers crossed. Let's go. Very cold wood. Nobody said the wood was going to be cold. It's eerily quiet. I haven't seen a single soul, which is perhaps understandable given the weather. And it's also bitterly cold. But you know, I can actually see a hint of blue up there. I think this may well clear. I think if we were up much higher than this, it would be clear, but I'm hoping it clears. It's looking as if it may do. I'm not going to be stopping for anything to eat today, simply because it's too cold. I've got Scotch eggs with me, but I'm not going to stop to eat them. I should be back in Greenock by just before 2 o'clock, I think, in time for lunch. What I'll maybe do is I'll just have a couple of short chats en route. I mean, I already know, having said that, there'll be comments. People will be saying, "Oh, what happened to the pie? I missed the pie." I sometimes think I don't so much have subscribers to my YouTube channel. What I've actually got is a whole bunch of moaning minis who are constantly knitting my ear about one thing or another. What about this? Why did you not do that? Where's the pie? What's that? So don't be knitting my ear too much, especially about the pies. All right. I now realise why I'm a little bit wary, if not frightened, of the wind turbines. they throw ice. Apparently, I didn't know this. There's a sign back there saying in icy conditions they can start chucking ice about the place, and I have seen sort of fist-sized lumps of ice here and there, which has made me think, what? That's maybe why I've not seen anybody up here. Everybody's got more sense than I have. But as I say, I didn't actually know that. This is a lesson maybe for us all. Don't go into wind farms when it's icy. And you know, the mist is still hanging about here. The main issue I have at the moment is that I don't know if I'm going to be able to find the path that leads off these wind farm roads that will head up Corlick Hill. I mean, there has been a number of signs saying, you know, the Corlick Way or something like that. So I'm hoping there'll be signs. The next turbine, I think, is number 4. I'm not sure if the path's going to lead off that or whether it's going to be round about the kind of... I mean, if I can't find it, I'll simply just carry on. I'll eventually head back to where I came from, and we'll have to kind of call it a day at that. An interesting thing about this walk, or an interesting observation, it's maybe one that's well known, but there's a lot of moors here, and they're all named in this kind of whole area. And also across the River Clyde above Renton and Alexandria, there are also a lot of named moors. The difference is that all, without exception, that all the named moors above Renton and Alexandria are spelled M-U-I-R. And all the moors here on the south of the River Clyde, above Port Glasgow and Greenock, are spelled M-O-O-R. And I find that a fascinating observation for some reason. M-U-I-R is the Scots version of the word moor, the English version being M-O-O-R. And obviously the River Clyde is a pretty major barrier. It seems in this instance to have been a barrier to words. The English version didn't get over the river, and us Scots have kept the M-U-I-R version. If anybody's got any other thoughts on that, I'd be interested to hear them, because as I say, I find it strangely fascinating. And every now and then the mist parts. No, I thought it had parted there, it hasn't. And you get a little bit of a wind turbine. That's probably just so they can see if there's anybody in the immediate vicinity they can chuck ice at. Right. Let's see if we can find this path. Well, this is the top of Corlick Hill. I've just got to end the video here. It's bitterly cold. You don't want to hang about for too long. I'll probably shoot some other footage between here and Greenock as I kind of go, but I'll not have any more chats. I was going to have another final chat about my new computer, but I'm not going to bother. My hands are starting to go very cold. You know, one thing I've noticed about two weather forecasts, I can't even speak, two weather presenters on a television, they end their weather forecast with a really false sort of smile. you know, it just gets cringe-worthy. Obviously, it's that kind of awkward moment between having finished your presentation and the camera leaving you. So they give a big kind of smile, which just looks utterly ridiculous, you know. It's not sort of thing I would do, you know. You've got to just kind of try and be natural. Anyway, before I kind of get frostbite here, I better go. I'm Eddie Burns. Until the next time, take care. Right, let's get some heat. That slight wind at the top of that very small hill with a cut right through you, it was absolutely bitter. And you know, I should have brought a compass. Can't follow my own advice. The sun's there, coming through the mist. It rises in the east and it sets in the west. So north's that way, and that is the way I'm sort of going. There's quite a few paths here, they all look pretty substantial. I'm not sure which one is the one I'd originally intended to take. At this stage it doesn't matter too much as long as I'm sort of going that way. See a little white arrow and a green marker over there. In the absence of words, it could be pointing absolutely anywhere. But yeah, there's the sun. That's the way I want to go. The road goes ever on. This is like a second ending, you know, like a second breakfast. It's allowed. I can say, I'm Eddie Burns. Bye for now, any number of times I want. But we'll just make it two on this occasion. Back there, just when I come off Corlick Hill, apart from being bitterly frozen, I knew that there was a track, a path heading north, but that's not actually the way that I had originally intended to go, and I feel pretty certain that this is the way I had originally intended to go. I think it will take me past Whitelees Cottage, which may not be on modern maps. This map's a couple of decades out of date. As I said back there, I'm not following my own advice. I've got a map that's out of date, I don't have a compass. I'm just a walking shambles. And you know, when you're looking at the sun and just trying to figure out that the sun is where it should be, you know you've messed up a little bit. But I think we've corrected things and I'm all right. It's just, I'm sorry we haven't been able to get views and things. It's just, the mist hasn't cleared. It's just sometimes the way it goes. I'm not even sure that I got any shots of any wind turbines. Every time one materialised out of the mist, by the time I set the camera up, it had gone. But hopefully I've at least entertained you. Are you not entertained? So for the second time, I'm Eddie Burns. Take care, and I'll see you again.